Today I want to talk about my confusion regarding the new Mac Pro because Apple kind of surprised us by announcing this, and it's not exactly the replacement we wanted over the Intel version, so let's talk about it. So the first big disappointment is the fact this uses the exact same SoC as the Mac Studio. Now, to be fair, Gurman did tell us the Extreme chip Apple initially planned for this Mac Pro had been cancelled, and it's now pretty obvious this actually was the case because the Ultra in this massive chassis is very overkill. Now, we were hoping that with the lack of an Extreme chip, Apple would make up to us by giving the Mac Pro proper customizability, since this was by far the best aspect of the older Intel Mac Pro, and it's the reason why many professionals loved using this machine, but unfortunately we did not exactly get that here with this new Mac Pro. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. So Apple is offering 7 PCIe slots on this, which is one less than the outgoing model, and actually one of these slots is already used for the I/O card out of the box, so this really only has 6. However, unfortunately this does not support external GPUs like many of us were hoping. Instead, these are PCIe Gen 4 slots that support audio and video I/O, networking and storage, which honestly appeals to a very niche market. In fact, you could probably use most of these via Thunderbolt, and so the upgradability here should have been focused on the GPU and RAM instead. Because yes, for those wondering, this also has non-upgradable RAM, and so compared to the Intel version that could support 1.5 terabytes, this Mac Pro maxes out at 192 gigs, which yes, is a lot, but do remember that for the target demographic of the Mac Pro, which is the highest of the highest end pros, they need tons of RAM. And yes, you could argue that Apple Silicon's unified memory works differently and is more efficient, and you could get away using less, but considering most of these professionals might still be using x86 apps that are not properly optimized for the ARM platform, I still do think there is a majority of pros wanting more RAM, and Apple simply does not offer this. This machine also has less Thunderbolt ports, but gains HDMI and extra USB-A ports, so I guess that makes up for the fewer Thunderbolt ports, but either way guys, in some aspects this is a downgrade. And so with these compromises, I'm not sure who the Mac Pro appeals to, because it certainly does not appeal to the highest end pros who are using the older Mac Pro, because they would need a much more powerful external GPU and also more RAM. But also, if you can make do with the M2 Ultra, I feel like most are just going to go with a cheaper studio that offers exactly the same performance. And like I said, a lot of the expansion this offers can be replicated via Thunderbolt. In fact, I can't lie, it's pretty weird Apple charges thousands of dollars more for the Mac Pro when the Mac Studio offers exactly the same performance at $4,000. Also, Apple charges an arm and a leg quite literally for the additional SSDs on the Mac Pro, because it's $1,000 for 2 terabytes, $1,600 for 4 terabytes, and a whopping $2,800 for 8 terabytes, which is ridiculous pricing, but I guess I should not be surprised by this. The Mac Pro wheels are still $700, I think, so yes, Apple always goes ludicrous when it comes to pricing these Mac Pro accessories. But honestly guys, I only see a small portion of very niche consumers considering this, and so I feel like they could have waited till they gave us a bigger Mac Pro update, especially since most Macs post Apple Silicon have got major redesigns and have been very much redesigned from the ground up for Apple Silicon. It feels kind of odd that Apple releases this half-baked update for the Mac Pro with this older chassis that's frankly way too big and also does not have the features we wanted. I feel like they rushed into this and could have given us a bigger upgrade. However, you could argue that him being the supply guy, most of Apple's demographic are not buying the Mac Pro, so they probably have tons of these Macs lying around, and so logistically speaking, I can understand why they did this. Apple often recycles designs, but I'm still hoping the next Mac Pro refresh does offer an Extreme chip and also much better expandability options. Also want to mention, I was theorizing based on leaks that Apple could offer compute modules with the Mac Pro, so each module consisted of one M2 Ultra, and so you could use 2 of these modules to get double the performance, but they also can be replaced down the line when the M3, the M4, the M5 Ultra, etc. launches. So basically you could have the same body you have right now, but of course continue upgrading the internals as Apple releases better modules. I feel like that could have made it a little more enticing because even if it did not support an external GPU or of course more RAM right now, you could just replace the SoC down the line and get a new module, but unfortunately this did not materialize and you can't double up M2 Ultras to get some insane performance. And so ultimately this refresh really feels like a stopgap product till Apple sorts out scaling issues and brings the Extreme to the Mac Pro, but they also probably rushed this just to complete the transition as soon as possible because do remember they said the transition would be done within 2 years and that unfortunately was not the case. So Apple was like, hey, let's just release this with the M2 Ultra and complete the transition. So yes, I'm not going to be recommending this to most consumers unless you really need the PCIe slots. Most consumers should get the Studio instead. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.